Welcome to the Get Fit Guys, quick and dirty tips to slim down and shape up. My name is Ben Greenfield, and I'm the Get Fit Guy. You know, strong is the new sexy, and when you build muscle the right way, you not only get strong, but you also get a lean, tight, toned appearance that gives you a far better look than the type of physique you might develop when you simply pound away miles on the treadmill or just perform yoga or Pilates. It's not that those type of cardio, flexibility, and core strength exercises aren't good for you. It's just that in the absence of a full-body strength training program and some muscle building, you simply don't get that body that you want. I discuss this in more detail in my book, Get Fit Guy's Guide to Achieving Your Ideal Body, which you can check out at getfitguy.com. So, in this episode, I'm going to give you the best 3 ways to get strong fast, and you'll learn how to time your workouts to get stronger. Now, there are 3 primary strategies you can use for increasing strength. Number 1, multi-joint exercises. Number 2, periodization. And number 3, proper timing of your workouts. I'm going to teach you how to use each as effectively as possible. Let's start with multi-joint exercises. You'll often read articles in fitness magazines that highlight the injury prevention and performance-enhancing importance of tending to small supportive muscles that are notoriously weak in many people, such as your shoulders rotator cuff, your outer butt's gluteus medius, your small scapula muscles along your shoulder blades, and the abdominal, hip, and low back region, which is often called the core. And while these certainly are weak areas that shouldn't be neglected, for the average working, time-crunched exerciser, it just doesn't make sense to devote several extra hours per week performing isolation exercises for these tiny supportive muscles. For example, a common exercise for strengthening your shoulder and rotator cuff involves multiple sets and high repetitions of internal and external shoulder rotation with a piece of light elastic tubing. Now, if you have 30 minutes at the gym over your lunch hour, do you really want to spend 10 minutes of that time standing relatively motionless as a few small muscles in your arm and shoulder are firing? Well, instead, you'll find your limited time better suited to large, multi-joint movements that incorporate not only your rotator cuff, but also use many of the other major muscles of your body, thus training coordination, motor unit recruitment, and muscle strength, while at the same time strengthening your rotator cuff. Talk about bang for your buck. 2 examples in this case would be, number 1, barbell or dumbbell overhead presses, or number 2, body weight or assisted pull-ups, both of which involve multiple large muscles and full upper body coordination exercises, but also incorporate those smaller stabilizing muscles of your rotator cuff. Other examples of good full body or multi-joint movements include squats, cleans, overhead presses, and deadlifts. Over in the show notes at quickanddirtytips.com, I'll be sure and link to videos for each of those exercises. Now, strategy number 2 is to periodize. If you use the same strength training volume and intensity and the same sets, weights, and number of repetitions all the time, you get burnout and you also don't get as lean and as strong as quickly. So, you need to modify your strength training routine throughout the year. This is achieved through a concept called periodization, which I actually introduced to you in the episode How to Get Better Results from Weightlifting, and I'll link to that episode in the show notes. Periodization is the scientific term for splitting a training year into periods and focusing on a specific fitness goal for each period. By following the simple rules that I'm about to outline, you'll be able to effectively periodize your strength training. So, let's start with winter. If your goal is to develop muscle mass and look good in the summer, and you want to tone muscle in a specific body area or build significantly greater strength, the winter is a good time to do it, since you may be eating more anyways in the winter. You might as well turn those extra calories into lean muscle, right? So do winter strength training workouts with a set and a repetition range designed for muscular growth. I recommend 3 to 4 times per week strength training with 3 to 5 sets for each exercise that you do. Do 10 to 15 repetitions at 65 to 75% intensity and use about 30 to 60 seconds of rest between your sets, or do circuits with minimal rest. Now, I realize I just threw a bunch of numbers at you, and don't worry, that's what the show notes are for over at quickanddirtytips.com. Go there, print out this episode, and you'll be able to set up your entire year of muscle building and body toning with that one resource. Now, let's move on to the spring. Because you may be wanting to play sports or stay active in the summer while showing off your lean, strong body, of course, spring is a good time to develop more joint and ligament strength and muscle coordination. So I recommend including 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps with a heavier weight than you used in the winter, and the goal of completing 2 to 3 weight training sessions each week. For ideal strength in the spring, use 3 to 5 sets of 8 to 10 reps at 75 to 85% intensity, with 60 to 90 seconds rest between sets. So you're basically lifting heavier with about the same number of sets and longer rest periods. So let's move on to the summer. Summer can get busy, but fortunately you can maintain your results in the summer with just 1 to 2 strength training sessions each week that are hard and heavy, with 2 to 4 sets of 6 to 8 reps at 85 to 95% intensity and a good 90 seconds to 2 minutes of rest or recovery between each set. If you're playing summer sports, you can also begin to include something called plyometrics, and I'll link to plyometrics in the show notes. And you can do these separately or at the same time as your weight training session. Then finally, we come to the fall. And fall comes just before that return to your winter muscle building. So a good goal for the fall is to develop lots of power so that you can get good results and be even stronger when you step into the gym to restart your winter muscle building. When these types of power training sessions are performed properly, you shouldn't be very sore or experience a high amount of muscle failure, but you do get lots of muscle fiber stimulation. Do all your lifts explosively, and in most cases use a lighter weight than you used in the winter or the spring or the summer. So for the fall, I recommend just 1 to 3 sets of 4 to 6 reps at a relatively light weight, using about 40 to 60% intensity. Lift quickly, and only lift about 1 to 2 times a week. So let's move on to the third strategy, proper timing. And there are 3 basic timing rules to follow as you get stronger. Timing rule number 1. Research has shown that a higher calorie burning response occurs when strength training is preceded by cardio, rather than vice versa. So, do your cardio first and your weights after. Timing rule number 2. Space strength training workouts that target the same muscle groups by about 48 hours. Muscles take about 48 hours to recover between your strength training sessions. So if your session includes, let's say, barbell squats, and then the next session that you have planned has dumbbell lunges, then space these sessions by about 48 hours apart or more, since they train similar muscle groups in your legs. And timing rule number 3 is if you have limited time at the gym or a limited ability to visit the gym frequently, do short and frequent or long and infrequent strength training workouts. I'll say that again, short and frequent or long and infrequent strength training workouts. So in a short and frequent scenario, 2 to 3 weight training workouts of 20 to 45 minutes each could be performed on a weekly basis. Or for a long and infrequent strength training workout scenario, you might just step into the gym 1 time per week, but stay there for an hour and a half or 2. In an ideal scenario, however, I recommend you incorporate 3 to 4 strength training sessions per week if you're just getting started, and then 1 to 2 sessions per week for continued maintenance. Now, I realized that was a lot of information about how to get strong fast. So if you have questions, head over to facebook.com/getfitguy, and I'll be happy to help you over there. Until next time, this is Ben Greenfield, the Get Fit Guy, asking you, what are you waiting for? Go get fit.